In most games, it is obvious that the game wants you to succeed. It shows itself as some over-the-top power fantasy that wants you to overcome its challenges. But FromSoft's newest hit, Elden Ring, makes us ask the question, what if a game didn't want you to succeed? What if a game hated you? And how do you beat a game with such overwhelming opposition and animosity?
I doubt you could even imagine it.
Elden Ring is the 2022 hit online action role-playing game developed by From Software, the creators of the similar and also massively successful Dark Souls series. With game direction led by video game industry veteran Hidetaka Miyazaki and writing led by renowned fantasy writer George R. R. Martin, the game released as a smash hit and is one of the most significant games of 2022.
The game follows the player character as they roam the lands between, a sort of wild and unruly purgatory-esque afterlife, on their quest to become Elden Lord and rule the lands as they see fit. Throughout the game, the player can either summon other players who want to help and contribute to their cause, or they may be invaded by hostile players who want to kill or otherwise hinder them. From Software is famous for its punishing difficulty and hostility, and this game is no exception. The game is incredibly difficult, requiring a high level of responsiveness and focus with very little margin for error. Enemies are fast, strong, and smart. They will set up ambushes or hide in corners where you least expect them. Elden Ring also features a mechanic known as corpse running. If you die, you lose all your in-game currency and must run back to the place where you died in order to re-obtain a portion of them. And if you die before you get there, you lose everything. No matter how good you are in this game, you will die, and you will die a lot.
Now, this method of game design has its own pros and cons. Many people say that the game's difficulty scares away players and makes the game inaccessible to those who are unable to undergo the steep learning curve needed to properly enjoy the game. Others say that this philosophy of brutal, hardcore game design makes the victories feel more meaningful, since players are challenged and properly pushed to their limits. Personally, I can see the value of both sides, but I appreciate the game's mechanics and design philosophy because it manages to teach the player its core morals and values in a way that no other medium can without uttering a single word about it.
As I said earlier, the game is designed so that you will have to die over and over again while trying to beat the game. This difficulty forces the player to be creative, and many players begin seeking help from other players in order to beat extremely difficult parts of the game. This is something that is non-verbally encouraged by the game, as the spots where you can summon other players tends to be in spots leading up to very difficult challenges. This constant loop of trying to beat the game alone, dying, asking for help and succeeding, then moving on to the next challenge to start the loop all over again, drills a core lesson into the player's brain. By working together and helping one another, we are able to beat unimaginably hopeless situations. This is a message that the game's story, which focuses on you building alliances with important characters and players, supports. And most importantly, it's a message that the game manages to teach its players almost entirely through its gameplay. This is the reason I love this game. It teaches us that the strongest tool we have when times are hard is cooperation and community, and it teaches us this without needing to utter a single word.
Tarnished. Thy strength befits a crown.